Hovig Etyemezian is with us now. You're account manager in the Zaatari camp in Jordanien. Thank you for being with us. Could you tell us, we are listening now to Doctors Without Borders telling us that the supplyment of, for example, food is getting less and less. Can you tell us?
Yes. Hi. We have in Jordan, we have 629,000 refugees registered in Jordan as a whole. Most of refugees live outside of camps. So in camps, we have around 100 to 110,000, out of which around 79,000 are in Zaatari camp, where I work. So most refugees are outside of camps. And unfortunately, the cut in assistance affects mostly refugees in urban environments, where we have seen a shortfall of the funding in the past 8 months. Which means that those refugees were not being able to put food on their plates. So the camps are less affected by the funding shortfalls than the refugees who are living outside. But it is also a reality that only 37% of the needs in total, the needs for refugees, are covered by the donors. So you can imagine how much difficult it is to support refugees if we only have 37% of the required budget.
Yeah, definitely. But you are telling me that it's better for the refugees in the camps. But since you are managing the Zaatari camp, can you tell us how is it to be a refugee there?
Just to be very accurate, it is not necessarily better for refugees in camps, because camps are also a very difficult environment to live in. But in terms of the cut in assistance, that's what I meant when it comes to the food. The camps are, for us, the last resort. We prefer not to have war and not to have displacement. And when there is, we prefer refugees to live in urban areas where their life resembles more their life back home. So the camps are the last solution because it's very challenging to live in camps. In Zaatari, it's a very urbanized camp, so we have major infrastructure challenges, roads, electricity, water, sewage, and whatnot, which we are working on together with partners. But we also have issues like access to education or opportunities for education, especially for the youth, because we simply don't have enough opportunities for young Syrians who want to go to university, who have dropped out of university, or who have finished secondary schooling, to be able to go to universities or get vocational training. So I think the challenge for us today, the big challenge, is to provide a dignified life and a sense of a future for Syrian refugees by allowing them, or by giving them enough scholarships to send them to universities, to vocational training, but also open up opportunities for livelihoods. The more livelihoods opportunities we have for refugees, the more we focus on education, maybe refugees would be able to lead a more dignified life than they do right now.
Yeah, many of the children in Zaatari are working instead of going to school. How are you working with preventing that?
We work together with UNICEF, which is the leading agency on education, and the Ministry of Education. Last year, we had a high rate of dropout from schools. This year, the target population of age of school is 25,000, out of which around 18,000 have already enrolled in schools. But what we are trying to avoid is, one, dropouts over the course of the academic year, but also convince parents to send their children to school by giving them incentives. Because the reality is that when parents can't make ends meet, they are forced to make their children work so that they can sustain life of the family. So one of the things that we could do, and I don't think enough is done, is to provide the parents with enough resources so that they can put food on their plates and have a dignified life, and therefore send their children to school. The schools have been expanded in Zaatari this year, so we have more capacity than last year. We have more teachers. We have been working closely with the teachers, and when I say we, I mean UNICEF, Ministry of Education, and also other partners. And so the effort is there, but of course we have also a lot of children who have been out of school for a period of time, and there are programs, catch-up programs for these students to be able to then catch up and then go to formal school.
Okay, the Zaatari camp has like grown into the equivalent of a small city. And when you talk to people there, do they have any hope about returning home, returning to their country, or do they like feel that they have to stay in this camp forever?
Well, I think the attitude of the Syrians has changed over time. If you ask the Syrians 6 months ago what they wanted to do, almost the absolute majority would say, we will go back to Syria, the war will end soon, and therefore we are hopeful to go back to Syria. Unfortunately, the conflict is getting more and more complicated, and we have seen recently a new trend, which you are seeing in Europe, is that refugees are saying the war is not ending. We have no future ahead of us. We don't have enough opportunities for our youth to go to university and whatnot, and therefore they are looking for a better future elsewhere. So in the past 3 months, we have seen more and more youth talking about going to Europe as part of their plight for a better life. And some of them are selling their land in Syria to be able to afford the cost of traveling to Europe. This is a new phenomenon that has changed, I think, the dynamics. Syrians continue to be very hopeful to go back to Syria once the war ends. But more and more Syrians are saying the war is not ending and we have to find a better life elsewhere.
And you are in Jordan, and for how long time will Jordan and maybe also Zaatari be able to take on more refugees?
There are new arrivals every day. So we have on an average 60 new arrivals from Syria every day. The neighboring countries, Jordan, continue to receive refugees, but they cannot sustain the burden on their own. So to answer your question, the more the international community supports the neighboring countries, the longer and better refugees can lead a dignified life in neighboring countries. We're already seeing a lot of pressure. There is peaceful coexistence in Jordan, but we should not take that for granted. We should reinforce the peaceful coexistence by supporting refugees in neighboring countries. So the answer to how long really depends on also the role of the international community in supporting neighboring countries.
Mm. So, final question: what are the resources that you need right now in the camp to assure, if you say, a good life for the refugees there?
A few things. I think we can increase the amount of cash assistance that we can provide to refugees. We have a state-of-the-art capacity to even provide assistance via ATM machines using iris technology. So we're quite advanced when it comes to the techniques of delivery of assistance. So one aspect would be cash assistance, so that refugees can, have enough resources to sustain life. The other is to invest in Jordanian educational institutions, where if the universities and vocational training centers are supported, we have more classrooms there, new courses maybe with partnership with European universities, then that would also provide more opportunities for the youth to study. That's two. More livelihoods opportunities which are linked to their school studies and university studies. So I would say the mix would be via livelihoods, education, and humanitarian assistance to improve the dignity of refugees in Zaatari, but also in Jordan. And I would also say that we do have very vulnerable refugees who with all the assistance provided, they cannot sustain a dignified life here. We have many war-wounded, severely war-wounded refugees who cannot survive in the camp. So we also call on the international community to increase the resettlement slots, which would also show solidarity with the neighboring countries. So Europe should be able to absorb some of these refugees from official, instead of the smuggling, but rather the official way of receiving refugees via resettlement.